trust.
Connection.
Healing art.
Challenge yourself.
And let's fly.
What is yoga? You might be one of the millions who has taken a yoga class and perhaps even mastered the peacock pose, or maybe the downward dog pose. You might do yoga for physical benefits or to rest your mind, but yoga has a lot more to offer for your deeper consciousness and higher awareness. So what is yoga? Yoga, meaning union, is a Hindu spiritual quest to experience the Brahman, or divine, by balancing our mind. Hinduism recognizes that there are many paths to the divine, and so there are many types of yogas. Besides Hatha Yoga, there are 4 primary yogas. They are Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Raja Yoga. Krish enjoys music. According to Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of devotion, he can experience divinity through devotion expressed through singing, dancing, and listening to praises of the divine. The Bhagavad Purana teaches 9 primary forms of bhakti, as explained by Prahlada. Listening to God's praise, singing, chanting, rendering service, worshipping a murti, paying homage, servitude, friendship, and complete surrender of the self to the divine. Priya enjoys taking care of and cooking for her parents. According to Karma Yoga, the yoga of service, she can experience the divinity through selfless service. This is done by acknowledging the divinity in everyone and by regarding all her actions as worship. Bhagavad Gita says the best form of service is service that is performed without being attached to the fruits of one's activities. One should act as a matter of duty because by working without attachment, one attains the divine. Auro enjoys meditating and studying Hindu scriptures. According to Jnana Yoga, the yoga of knowledge, he can experience the divine by meditating on scriptural teachings to realize truth from untruth. Through Viveka, by experiencing inner knowledge and insight, he can differentiate between the eternal and temporal. The syllable Om is the Brahman, the impersonal absolute of Hinduism. Realizing it, one finds complete fulfillment of all of one's longings. Dolly enjoys meditation. According to Raja Yoga, she has to cultivate her mind before she starts the practice of meditation. Yoga Sutra of Patanjali advises living a moral life, purification of the body through Hatha Yoga, and pranayama, detachment from sense objects and concentration to prepare the mind for meditation. When the mind has been trained to remain fixed on a certain internal or external location, there comes to it the power of flowing in an unbroken current, as it were, towards that point. This state is called dhyana, or meditation. Yoga at a higher level can be anything that leads you to divinity. The 4 yogas are not mutually exclusive, and a true yogi combines the different approaches to suit his needs to realize the divine. Make yoga yours and discover the divinity in you. When the 5 senses are stilled, when the mind is stilled, when the intellect is stilled, that is called the highest state by the wise. They say yoga is this complete stillness, in which one enters the unitive state, never to become separate again. If one is not established in this state, the sense of unity will come and go.
Hi you guys, it is really nice to be back with you. This time around, I'm going to be bringing you a flexibility series. Basically, it's going to be a 5-part video series, all different videos to increase flexibility through all different areas of your body. Before we jump into it, the first video we're going to be doing hips, so increasing the flexibility through our hips. Before I get into that, I just wanted to talk to you about something that's going on for me in my personal life that I think maybe some of you guys might be able to relate to. And it's basically this sense of, I'm in this place right now where I'm trying to open myself up to opportunities and to the universe, and maybe even considering moving to a new location, a new country even. And it's so exciting and wonderful, and there's this sense of freedom and aliveness that comes with it, but at the same time, I'm certainly in touch with a fear as well, and this sense of things being out of control, and in some ways I feel the need to quickly make a decision just so I know what I'm doing. And I just want to mention to you about this and see if maybe you can relate to that in some way, and basically make the point that we're never really in control of anything, and it doesn't matter what it is or what it relates to in your life, but we really need to just trust. We need to trust that whatever it is working out for us, and the right thing is coming, and there's no need to figure it all out right away, and it's also okay to not know and to trust that you can be safe with that. So I think that's a big thing in our lives that we can work on, trusting more. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. Now let's get into our hips. So we're going to do 3 postures. These postures I feel very confident will really help you to increase your range of motion through the hips. We're going to start with pigeon, which we've done in previous videos for sure. It's one of the best for opening the hips. Begin by bringing your hands about shoulder width apart so that you're in a downward facing dog. Shoulders drop down the back, hands are always active. Bring your right knee to your right wrist, and then just slowly lower down. 2 things are going to happen here probably. 1, you're probably going to feel your body rolling out this way. Do the very best you can to keep your hips square. If your bum is really up off the floor, if you can't rest your right hip down on the floor, you could put like a little pillow or the sandbag or something like that under your hip to rest so that the muscle can actually relax. So we don't want to be holding in this posture, we want to relax. So if you have your hip down, then you have another option. You can come onto your elbows perhaps. You could even cross your forearms and rest your head. So finding what feels comfortable for you. Again, if you need to, you can keep yourself a little bit more upright and have a prop under your hip. If you're pretty open or you want to work even deeper, remembering in yoga and in these postures, there's always somewhere to go. There's always a way you can go deeper. So here, if you want to go deeper, let your body, instead of rounding forward, extend out along your thigh, and then lay the weight of your body on your right leg as you bring your head back down. So this is going to release the outside of the right hip, and it's also going to offer you a little bit of a stretch through the front of the left hip, through the hip flexor. Once you've hung out in this posture for a couple of minutes, I recommend doing it for about 2 or 3 minutes at least. If you really have the patience and you want to increase your flexibility that much quicker and further, hold it for 5 minutes. Then, using your hands, you can take your leg back. Your hip might feel a little bit tender, vulnerable, so you can just pedal your feet. You could extend your leg out. Sometimes it feels nice to open the hip. Whatever feels good for you, and then move into the other side. The left knee to the left wrist. Same thing. So if you're a little tight here, you might need to put something so that the muscle can relax. Otherwise, your hip comes down. You want to keep your right hip forward. So again, careful you're not rolling to the side. And then with your hips square, you can extend out into whatever variation of the posture that you're choosing to do. Always in yoga, finding the breath once you're in the posture. The definition of posture actually is holding stillness and breathing normal. So once you come into the depth of whatever posture you're doing, you want to make sure those 2 things are happening. So there's stillness and there's breath. So once you've completed the other side, again, 2, 3, even 5 minutes, extend your leg back, walk it out, open the hip, whatever you need to do, and then slowly lower onto your knees. Next, we're going to move into a posture that really helps to open the inner thighs, the inner part of your leg. So sitting this time with your feet together. Your knees might be up like this, that's okay. This might be your pose. If you can, we're gonna go a little deeper. What we're gonna do is extend our bodies out towards our feet. And as you pull on your feet, make your soles of your feet face the ceiling. So just rotate through your foot so that your knees start to come down. As you extend out, if possible, you can rest your elbows on your knees and just gently push them towards the floor. If you're ready to do a little bit more than that, you could bring your hands there and encourage the knees down this way. So again, you want to try to stay here for at least a minute or two, or again, longer is always good. Eventually getting your knees all the way down and your forehead down towards the floor. You can have a round spine for this, or you can extend with a flat spine. You'll feel it a little differently based on what you do with your upper body. So that's called butterfly pose. The third posture we're going to do as a hip opener is dragon lunge. We're going to bring our right foot forward. So first you want to just stack your knee with your ankle and then extend this leg back so that you feel a stretched left hip. So we're really opening through the right and the left side this time. You're going to feel it here probably the most. So you can stay here. You can have your hands on 2 soup cans or whatever else you have at home to support your torso up straight. If you want to, you can do a little variation where you go deeper. So you can pick the way that feels right for you. If you want to go a little bit deeper still, I'm going to show you one more thing. So I would suggest holding this for about a minute or two, and then turn your right foot out on an angle and try to bring your forearms, if possible, to the floor. So now you're really going to open into the right hip while you're getting that stretch through the left hip. So this is another variation. Eventually you could even move all the way down here. That's going to be pretty deep though, so even something like this would be okay, but just to turn that foot out a little bit. Then bring it back to center, and then you can slowly release it back. Again, you might need to take a second to wiggle your leg, to shake it out, and then you'll move on to the other side. The left foot will come forward, knee stacked over ankle, and then keeping the hips square, just sinking into this left side. Just make sure your knee isn't going beyond your foot, knee and ankle in one line, holding it here, feeling it in the front of the right hip flexor. And then after, again, a minute or two, for at least another minute, turn the left foot out and either staying upright or moving that much deeper. You can always intensify this also by coming onto the right toes, stretching further back through that right leg. Or one more variation for those of you who are pretty flexible or pretty open through the hip. You could grab the back of your left foot and just pull your foot towards your body. That's going to be really deep for the right hip flexor. So those postures will really help to open your hips, and it's good to increase your flexibility there for a number of different reasons. Increased range of motion through your hips is going to help you in all the other activities that you do, your strengthening exercises, etc. Opening your hips up can really help to alleviate back pain as well if you're dealing with that. And also, we tend to store a lot of things emotionally in our hips, anger as well. So emotion, you'll have an opportunity to maybe even release some of that. So that could happen on an energetic level. So don't be surprised if you start doing these postures, for example, every single day, and you're holding each of them for 5 minutes. If you feel a little bit, strange, especially the next day. I always find if I feel something moving around energetically, a release of some kind, it happens the next day. So just being mindful of that. If that comes up for you, try to embrace it. It's a good thing. Again, we're not in control of anything. Just allow it, let it flow. It's good. Trust that it will be serving to you in some way. We'll see you in video 2, where we're going to open our backs and our spines.